Sports Wrap. I'm Lockett Sebastian.
Dr. Thompson Fontaine.
Emmanuel Black.
Well, Lobby, I got to put you on the spot. I know you're a churchman. Can you lead us in prayer, please?
Huh?
Can you lead us in prayer, please?
Okay.
Right,
Ready?
let's go right away. Right away.
Okay. Lord Jesus, we thank you for another day. You are the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings. Whatever has been deliberated here today, everything is said in your name. We pray that Sports Wrap will continue to bring the good news to the populace. It's a program that have grown beyond lips and bones. Once again, Lord Jesus, I pray that you shower your blessing on everyone here today in your most gracious name. Amen.
Amen. Lobby, thank you, man. Let's get a little gospel song and then we don't have much time tonight.
I love you, Lord, for your
mercy never fails me. All my days, Amen.
From
the moment that I wake up
till I
lay my head,
I
live
of the
in the goodness of God.
So
My life faithful. All my life you have been so good. Every breath
I am
able.
I
I will sing of the goodness of God.
Yes, okay. Tonight we don't have much time. Lobby, Dr. Fountain Ronald, because we have to stop at 7 tonight because 295 will be carrying this thing, the ERC. They will be carrying it tonight. So we'll be here till 7. We expect to have the basketball people there, Donnie Robinson and his people. We'll talk a little football and a little cricket. And we have to be out of here by 7. Guys, West Indies cricket not doing very well. I guess we'll spend a little time on that. But you know, guys, today is today's date in the history of Dominica is a big day, right? Today, the 29th of May. And you know, I don't know where you guys were, but 29th, 1979, that was the first year I became Dominican's captain. We played and we're coming back home on that same day.
Wow.
And we got stuck in Matnik. We didn't know what was going on. Everybody worried. In fact, Edison James was the manager of the team. And I'm trying to remember some of the people that I think Ken Tish, Mervyn Dura, Elliot Joseph. I'm trying to remember Ron Coffey. Who are the other guys? I think Peterson Badwill was there as well. Was Youthfield John there as well? I think, yeah, Youthfield John, yeah. Yeah, and we were stuck in Matnik, man, and we were all worried. We didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. Well, you know, it was quite something. I have some vivid memories of that day as a young schoolboy. Remember, the regiment took us all down to it, and one of the most striking images for me was seeing the truck of the defense forces and seeing the guys jumping up that truck. For some reason, that image has stayed in my mind. I can still remember we were up by the ministry looking down, straight down across the Lagon Road there. That's where they disembarked. And they came up and started firing. And you know, I remember seeing when I took off was when this guy from SMA who was in our class, when I saw 2 people grab him and he was holding his side.
You serious?
Yes, that was Stephen. What's his name? Stephen. Yeah, holding his side because he was shot right in his waist.
You serious? What?
Yeah. Luckily, he did not die. And then later on, we heard of another young boy, Manu. But I knew 2 of the people that were shot that day. One of them was our classmate.
So, Lobby, where were you on that day?
Sebastian, you asked an interesting question, Sebastian. I became an activist, first of all, in this country. From the time I joined the public service, I was in the union. Together, Isidro Black being my father, it says all. And I've been, following. I was with the union from time memorial. And that day, Sebastian, I can tell you, I was present, and hell broke loose. And I said that hell broke loose, and it was a very ugly day. And what preceded afterwards? What preceded afterwards? Country closed down, and then I say, Land and I, we did things. I don't think we want to disclose what we
You
did
mean
on that, you
poor
know.
Value or doing things on that night or during
Huh?
that time? Ronald, where were you that day? Where were you on that day? Oh boy, that is something.
Well,
No, it was
the whole thing started long before that.
Oh yes.
When Charles Savre was mobilizing us young public officers to get involved. And I remember the night before in Lahore, there was that vibrant meeting, and fellas were saying what they're going to do tomorrow, and please come with your towel, your wet towel, because there's going to be tear gas. And we all showed up the following day. We all showed up the following day, the following morning, outside of the ministerial building, and it was just total chaos. And things got worse when the defense force arrived. That just turned into an unmanageable situation there. And the people, because I was just more of an observer, I was a very young boy, so I was more observing. And the people were asking, Leo must go, never saying PJ must go. Leo must go, Leo must go. They recognized that Leo was the man behind everything. And people want to go after Patrick.
By the way, Leo was Leo Austin.
Leo
eh?
Austin,
For people who don't know.
Leo
yeah,
Austin.
yeah.
You know, and Patrick went along. I felt that he could have held back on the legislation and he could have saved the day. But he went along. But the main guy who organized and ensured that the Patrick John regime would fall apart was Charles Savre. Charles Savre was the main fella behind that. And when the interim government came in and the Freedom Party came in, the guy left the trade union to join the Freedom Party. Stayed in the Freedom Party for a while. And when the Freedom Party could go nowhere, he joined the Labour Party. He took a faction of the Freedom and he joined the Labour Party. And that same Labour Party that he got rid of, he was a minister for more than 2 terms. And the president also for more than 2 terms. Low Black made mention of a situation there where we as young guys, because there was some discussion that they were going to burn the city. So every night we were showing up, we were reporting to police headquarters and showing up and patrolling the city. And ensuring that Charles Savre was well taken care of. He disappeared. We make sure we disappear him every night. You know, it was a critical situation. You know, and I hope that we don't go for another situation like that in Dominic.
Well, there are a lot of stories about that day.
Yes,
a lot of
yes,
stories.
yes.
And
By
you
the
must
way,
tell-
the workers' program will be on from 9 to 9 to
9 to
10
10,
p.m. Yeah,
correct.
the workers' program is on from 9, not 8 to 9, because of the same ERC thing which will be carried live on
And it's on
295.
May 29. Brother German will be one of the guests there as well.
Tonight from 7 o'clock,
tonight
right?
from 7.
It's a
So,
virtual.
a virtual discussion,
Right.
but it reflects around May 29, you know.
And Sibo,
Yeah.
Yes, Lobby.
yes, one thing about you have to when Atlanta said people were shouting, Leo must go and not PJ must go. You know what if Leo was a sellout? He was a total sellout. All right. And if he had allowed PJ to shelve the bill, who knows what would have happened? That
Well,
is why
Patrick John was probably, arguably, Dominica's most popular prime minister. I mean, you talk about Eo Libla, all the others, but that guy, were it not for that, maybe he would have had to resign from politics. I don't think anybody would have beaten him because the guy
nobody
was.
you see
Hold on, we have a caller. Maybe somebody wants. Good night.
Yeah.
Hello, Siba, good night.
Hi, how are you?
All right, and everybody else on the panel.
Yes.
Siba, I just want to give you a little. Siba, I was there, Sibo.
Uh-huh.
And you know, I always in the action, Sibo. Sibo?
Weren't you scared? Weren't you scared?
Just a short thing, because we have more time.
Right, yeah, go ahead.
The policemen were downstairs, and we had some fellas, customs and some other fellas, rocking that gate pitch. Sibo, no, Mr. Sarah tell us we don't want courtesy forward because probably this he could get tear gas. So anyway, while we there, Sibo, I'm telling you what I saw. While we there, we see defense was coming up by the, how you call them?
Lagon.
Lagodale. Coming
Right,
up
Lagon. They dropped them from there coming up.
Yeah.
and they start to fire tear gas. See,
Pow,
bo?
pow, pow, pow.
That must have been
Now,
scary. Eh?
in
It
the
was scary.
center of the ministry had a pipe, see, bo? And there was a big pear tree there, right by the same center there. We put that, or whoever put that, we put our kerchief and we start to wipe our sibo. I dive on the other side by the, see where you have that medical center opposite the treasury there.
Right. Yeah.
We dive there, myself, a lot of us, Ishmael, I ain't po, I said, that is something bullet.
Ah.
And Ishmael saying that is not dummy bullets, you know. This is why that's not dummy bullets. That is
Real bullets.
live bullets. So we stayed there for a long time. There was a girl that had a baby. Yeah, we were afraid for the baby on the little house there. See, but what I saw they had what is name, Brother Jermaine. See, but on the ground. See, but fully on that ground. I'm just giving you a little bit. It has more, eh?
Right.
But I'll just cut short.
See, but one thing,
Yeah,
Sibo.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
wasn't
I
very
think-
scary.
I
Hold on,
think
maybe, Dr.
It was
Fonte.
very scary. In fact, that's when it hit me, because when I saw Stephen and two persons grabbed him and then he held his waist and the blood was coming out from his waist, that's when I realized things were serious. You know, because we were hearing all of this degagement, the bullets going, and what I noticed is that there was not a long time. They started shooting almost immediately. They walked
Oh, yes.
down the road, and once they got to around the area of the financial center, they started firing.
In the air or on
Well, a lot of it was in the air, because if you remember all of the shots there, but apparently somebody got shot, you know, and people got shot. You know, number of persons got shot. I think 9 or 10 people. One of those guys I met actually in Washington many years later. He has a garage, a very big garage in Washington area. One of the guys that was shot. But I knew that they too.
I think
my
George
classmates-
Nelson Moses got shot as well from Barry got
in his hands, yeah. And a young boy,
Moses Nelson.
Ilma, who got shot, you know, a young boy from Goodwill area there.
Right.
And he got shot in his head, you know.
And still alive,
and
he survived?
He
He survived?
survived. He survived. It was
But
just a
the
miracle.
most critical thing, and I wish a lawyer can call in to confirm that, the two pieces of legislation that we were protesting against, that we overthrew the Patrick John regime for, those two pieces of legislation are still on the books after 47 years.
Well,
See, but one thing I
I
would
wish
say
we
there,
could go on. You know,
quickly.
without much time
Yeah.
tonight.
Simo,
Yeah.
quickly.
Uh-huh.
It's a shame what was done to the treasury, the painting, they covered,
Oh, the
you know.
painting, yeah, I saw they
Yes,
covered it,
it's
yeah.
a shame.
Yeah. We have a caller. Let's take a caller quickly before we move on. Good night.
Yes, this is Lucy.
Yes.
I was in hospital, newly went to work in hospital. They put me on skeleton staff with Sister Alfred. We wasn't expecting that so soon. When we see police bursting door, all about clothes with their big shoes, blood, no mattress, nothing, people coming bleeding.
My
The
goodness.
sister starts crying. I said, sister, you crying? You to give me courage, you crying?
Yeah.
I know, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
But all the people survived because we had a good doctor from France, a
Oh.
good surgeon.
Okay.
Yeah, but can
France
you
at that
imagine?
time.
9 people got shot,
Shot,
you
you
know,
know,
including
wow.
a guy in his head, a young boy in his head.
and he
I
survived
think
that.
he was probably
Don't forget
9
Philip
and
Timothy
10 years
died.
old. You know, well, yeah, one
Philip
person, that's what I'm
Timothy died.
saying.
You still there, Lucy?
But it showed
Good.
it showed how good at that
the time, yeah.
our medical services were
Was,
to
yeah.
save all these people.
True,
I
true.
mean, you know, it was just incredible.
Anyway, we don't have much time. By the
I'll
way,
be
Doc,
checking.
let's take this last caller. Yeah. Good evening. Hello? Okay, we have to move on.
What's this
Before we go, Dr. Fountain, I heard you were offered a space in a mansion. You don't want to talk about it in church. You were offered space in a mansion, eh?
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
as is customary,
Yeah.
I try to go to church, you know,
Yeah.
on a Sunday in my
Yeah.
constituency, and
Yeah.
so I went to church on Sunday.
Which church do you go to now?
I went to the Grandfather Catholic Church.
Okay.
Yes, and you know, so because you get to meet people and so on, and then I saw a number of persons in red. But what is the occasion? Later on, I found out that the Labour Party was using that as to celebrate but it was also the Grandfather Feast. It was also the start of the Grandfather Feast. So a number of persons came and so on. So at the end of the service, the priest says, well, he's going to allow the Prime Minister a couple of minutes to say something. So he went up and then he said a few things, and then he turned to me and said he wanted to recognize my presence and so on. And then he made that statement
To offer you a space in one of the mansions.
to say that there are many mansions in Labour House. You know, but if I could speak back to him, I would tell him that I'm not in this for mansions for myself.
Yeah,
you
no,
know, I'm not interested in any mansion. I'm interested in the betterment of Dominica, but I was surprised that people, took that and ran with it and so on. But that's what it is.
Anyway, we have to move on. We're waiting on Donnie Robinson. While they're there, we'll probably speak to the football PRO so that we can get some information, because Dominica is playing next Wednesday, guys. And there was football over the weekend. I understand a match was postponed, I think, because two teams had the same socks. Can you imagine that? A match postponed, two teams have the same socks. I
the clash of the socks.
Clash of socks, and you postpone again.
Is it socks or the tops?
The
Socks.
Socks.
Yes.
Yeah, the match was postponed because they are the same socks. I'm trying to understand that. So we'll ask the PRO about that while we wait for the Robinson and his people who are in this basketball thing. Anyway, we have the PRO, Mr. Ebby Lawrence. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Sebastian. Good morning. Good evening, Dr. Fountain. Good evening, Lobby.
Yes, I heard you. Well, we were just speaking that a match was postponed because of people have the same socks. Tell us about that now, please. I don't understand.
Well, there is again, that was postponed because of a socks, but there is a statement from the Dominica Football Association, and we sent communicate to the teams stating that at all times they should present their kits.
Right.
However, for this one, the teams their colors the socks colors were close, and hence the referee is the referee's judgment, the referee color of the game.
My goodness, I just find that is something. Anyway, as you know, we don't have much time tonight. There was football.
I know.
There was football over the weekend. You can tell us about it, and also about your match next week as well. The national team.
We are in week 8 of the standings as we are. Dubla leads with 22 points. Dubla leads with 22 points, and DS, not DS. 767 Cuts Ready Cash. East Central is in seller position. However, the last game for week number 8 will be played on Friday, that is tomorrow, with DSFC coming up against Surgical Southeast. So then we will put the tables as accurate as possible. But Mao continues to lead, to be in the second position, followed closely by that of RS Bombers, Roosevelt Carried Bombers. But nonetheless, on Wednesday, we'll be having World Cup qualifier game at the stadium 4 p.m. And we are asking all Dominicans, all those that can for sure, be at the stadium for 4 p.m. to witness Dominica versus BVI. That is our home game. Yes, we will not qualify, but nonetheless, we could change our ranking from FIFA with a 3 points and still go in Dominican Republic the following 2 days and do just the same. So, but come the 4th of June, the game will be at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, 4 p.m. Tickets will be sold from tomorrow at the DFA, $15 early bird price. Game day ticket is $20.
Let me ask you, Abby, I heard your voice clip on the radio station speaking about the goalkeeper is going to retire something, and you all have something big shot for him, organizing something for him?
It is Glenson Prince's final game as captain of the Dominica football team, as also goalkeeper. And yes, there is something planned as we speak for Glenson and also Mr. Chad Bertrand.
No, Chad Bertrand is playing. I thought he retired. Is he on the team?
No, he is not. He is not playing, but it is just as fitting to do the same.
Okay, so let me ask you. So after this game, Glenson Prince won't be going to the Dominican Republic. It's done after the Dominican game.
After the Dominican game, he travels with the team to the Dominican Republic, but he will not play.
Oh, he'll not. So he's going. He will not play. So what's the point of that? He's not going to play. Why not bring?
Well, that was one of my areas. But again, Mr. Sebastian, I'm not the coach. The coach decides this team, and as a result, we just have to respect the coach's decision.
Yeah, but what I am saying, if he's retired, he's not part of the team. You should bring it. Do you all have another goalkeeper? I don't understand that. Huh?
We should bring it to a close on Wednesday, but it's a qualifier, so we must work with his contingent as to how and why the coach decided that. Probably before the next week, Thursday, you could always call the coach to justify his action. I can't answer that for you.
I must say, Abby, that Glenson Prince was one of the most outstanding Dominican players over the last 2 decades. Very outstanding. And whenever your goalkeeper is your most outstanding player is not good enough, because you can only win by scoring goals. But I recognize him. He's excellent. His movements, his placement is very, very good. In the 5 overseas players that you're bringing in, how many of them are playing on the forwards or in the midfield? Because we need to score goals.
I know for sure the person of Troy Joes will be here. Again, the composition of the team, it's on social media for all to see as to how the coach will position his players. That again will be seen on game day. And you are quite right, Mr. Lander, in the person of Glenson, and words will not be able to describe and say the tremendous effort he has placed in Dominica's football. And it will just be fitting when we come to the Windsor Park that we show him in a resounding way that, yes, we, the Dominican persons, are thrilled with what he did, and we appreciated his heroic effort in really bringing Dominica's football to another level.
Question there.
Abby. That's one suggestion that I have. Whenever the national team plays at home, at halftime, we should try to recognize some of our outstanding past national players. Most of the people coming to see the game don't know the past national players. So if you could, every time we play at home, a Dominican team playing at home, we could recognize between 3 and 5 past excellent national players. That would be very good.
Going forward, that this can be considered, but again, the game will be controlled by that of FIFA. So we have little leeway doing certain things that we would have, because even if we would want to do it, there are certain parameters and protocols we must establish before doing anything other than what the FIFA media team will be requiring us to do. So yes, while we would love to do that, but going forward, that could be a protocol established, and we could do it.
Question. Yes, Eddie. I heard you talking about Glenson. Is there normally the staff, do you have a goalkeeper, a guy responsible, like an individual responsible for the goalkeeping coach?
Melvin Angle.
Huh?
Goalkeeper coach is Mr. Angle, Melvin
Angle. So why Glenson? I mean, to say yes, you want to recognize him, but I don't see the reason why he has to travel with the team, because you have a goalkeeper coach already.
If you were listening, I said that is in the prerogative of the coach, and I am not in the position to tell you.
But that's making no sense at all, brother. That's a waste of money. That's a waste of money.
The coach sees it different. The coach sees it differently, sir.
The coach says what? That's a waste of money.
Okay, anyway, we can't really say that. We don't know their thinking there.
That's for them and
yeah.
as I say, was that Lobby? Yeah, well, I don't understand it myself, but if that's a matter for them, if they feel they want to bring him
for years, I have been with the football, I've been involved with part of the staff, and there's a goalkeeper coach. There's always a responsible for there's a goalkeeper coach.
Yeah, but he's just saying the coach wants him. If the executive decide they want to go with it, so be it. There's nothing we can do about it. That's
but Wednesday. So the game is at what time, Eddie?
The game is at 4.
4 o'clock. Okay, so we encourage Dominicans to come out in your numbers to support the Dominican team.
That's what we could do.
Yeah.
And one of these good days, Mr. Loblack, if we want to take football to where we want it, probably you should ask the panelists to give you questions as to what transpired then and what is transpiring now. Because sometimes, and I'm in just closing because I know your program is short.
Yeah, we have.
But Eddie,
sometimes just now, sometimes we dwell on the negatives, and I always say to persons, much is happening that we can grab on and move with. But we dwell on the negatives. Let's move on the positive. There must be a progressive trajectory.
Abby, hold on. I'm just seeing somebody saying a message saying they gave me that 3 p.m. You say it's 4. Are you sure it's 4? Somebody's sending a message saying they gave me that 3 p.m.
Well, somebody would have known better than I.
I'm just saying somebody just sent a text message. So you are the PRO. So you confirming it's 4 o'clock and not 3 o'clock?
I'm telling you the game is 4.
Okay, so no problem. When we'll go with your word.
I'm going to call the president. And
do that.
What you can do, call us back, okay? Because somebody's saying the game is at 3 p.m. You are the PRO. You're saying that 4. Get confirmation and call us back before 7 o'clock. Please.
Let me call.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, guys, we have to move on. Yeah, you call back. Thank you. Thank you, Abby. We're going to deal with basketball now. We have with us right in the studio the coach, the president, the guy who's really taking basketball to the next level, because you know in Dominica that's how it is. Sometimes in sporting organizations, if you don't have a leader, you're in trouble. So we're joined now by Mr. Donnie Robinson, who was the coach of this. I would say it's a great initiative to have this basketball thing with Benin and Dominica and Martinique and Guadeloupe. Great initiative, Donnie.
Yeah, I think it was, and sure we try to share some of our experiences with you guys and listeners, and people know what's happening in the basketball world.
But in terms of the basketball itself, Donnie, the Dominica team, well, as you said before, a lot of the experienced guys didn't show up for training, so you really had a makeshift team, right? That's what you.
Well, I wouldn't call it a makeshift team. It was just a younger team than normal. But the guys that were picked were the guys that showed up and showed interest and participated in training. We trained for about 3 weeks preparing. So yeah, that's the best representative team we had ready at this time.
But would you say that you, from a Dominican point of view, even though the young fellas you brought, you saw something that could really take Dominican basketball forward?
Well, yeah, I think by the third game we actually, we played Martinique on Saturday night. Well, Tuesday night, it was a holiday up there, so Tuesday night, and Martinique beat Benin, who actually beat us here at home. And at the half, we were leading the game by 5 or 6 points, and ended up losing that game. But you could see the improvement from game to game, which is basically for a young team that's all you can ask for. The effort, the continued work, and we have to understand it's 9 years. We have another national competition, so we have to start somewhere. And I think it was a good initiative to do so.
And well, in terms of the crowd participation, well, Dominica was good. In Guadeloupe and how was it?
Yeah, the arenas were full. All three countries that we played, the support was excellent. In Dominica, we were pretty much sold out. The facility was full. In Guadeloupe, it was a huge crowd. It was a bigger facility, but it was a huge crowd. The same thing in Martinique. Martinique was the loudest crowd because that's where it started. And the team actually played the final game that night and beat Benin that night. So the crowds were very good. Very, very good participation.
But is there a way, Donnie, after competition like that, I'm sure you guys would have had meeting and planned the way forward in terms of that sort of thing? Because, St. Lucia is a Creole-speaking country as well. They were not represented. So what is the plan in a country like St. Lucia joining that
So, and our ultimate goal has always been to revive the Windward Islands Championships. We are, in the absence of that, we are clawing and scraping for any regional exposure that we can get. The Creole basketball provides that. And what we are hoping is, although St. Lucia was invited this year, they couldn't participate, is that in the interim, that if you get the national teams to participate, you would still have the same level of exposure until we can structure ourselves back to have Windward Islands tournaments and OECS tournaments or sub-region tournaments. So the plan is to make this event an annual one. We have the club version, which is already an annual one. This one was a national level one. Actually, the club version is next week.
Wow.
Next weekend.
So you all will.
Yes.
So your team is playing.
Yeah, we have
in Dominica.
In Dominica, yes.
Okay.
So we'll talk about.
So
that.
the other countries will be there.
Will be there. You have 2 teams from Guadeloupe and 2 teams from.
Well, don't you tell people? We want to tell you there now. Let people know when you're there right now. Tell people.
So so from a national team standpoint, we are hoping that becomes an annual event.
Right.
But the biggest thing for us is to ensure that we can build from that. Keeping at least a core of the team, having some regular practices, regular interventions, so we can ensure that we're not starting from scratch every year. Okay. And that's one of the things we hope in tournaments like this will allow us to do.
Okay.
Yeah. I think what I saw a very young team, and the experience and exposure was very good for them. And the most that we can do is develop on our passing, our creation of play, our shot, the selection, our defense. So I see it as a building block because I was close up and they were very, very young players. You spoke some time ago about the Windward Islands competition. How is that evolving?
Well, so far we have St. Lucia on board. St. Vincent is in the process of getting their national leagues up and running. They're having some issues there. But the main players, obviously Dominic and St. Lucia, we are the closer ones. and we are trying to get that back. I think the plan is for sure to have one next year, considering that St. Vincent is hoping to have a national league this year. Once that can happen, I think it will. Summertime next year should be realistic, and even if it's not called Windward Islands official tournament, it's going to be a tournament, hopefully with the 4 Windward Island countries, that we can do on a.
Would you start in Dominica first?
We would hope so. I mean, I
Okay.
think hosting is the biggest impact in terms of it's not just a revenue thing, but wanting to show the public that we are bringing basketball back. And I think that's we wouldn't shy away from hosting it if we have to.
But you don't have to go to the OECS level, but you can look at the teams in the Leeward Islands.
Yes.
If there's interest in Antigua, in St. Kitts, to have a mini, because that's the only way that you're going to develop the basketball, by getting the necessary exposure.
Right, and that's one of the things that the Club Creole basketball will do, because last year, if you remember, the Antiguan team won. So you had a team from Antigua participating. And the plan is, while it's called Creole basketball, is to extend that as much as we can to the region until we have an official FIBA-sanctioned regional tournament. That is maybe the next best thing that we have.
Lobby, I see your hand. What? Go on.
Yes. Donnie, just want to congratulate you, for in terms of reviving the sport, which played so much in DA. But Donnie, I know that you're the problem. The problem, I mean, when Reds was there for the OECS, the problem was sponsorship. That's the problem, sponsorship is the problem. That's when Reds was there. That's when thing was alive. Luckily, we had a vibrant individual there. And that helped a lot of the sports to grow, to have competition. And I know DA in particular, teams love to come to DA. They love to come to Dominica, because in terms of what they usually, enjoy in Dominica. But for the basketball, for the Windward Island basketball to go down there, there must be a main sponsor. Are you looking at that?
Well, yeah, we have a few in mind, and St. Lucia in particular have actually approached one or two of them, because they're on a different level of their sponsorships over there, and we are looking at that. But I think now, with the advent of, to be very honest, with the advent of those short trips on the boats and stuff, it's actually very easy to get within let's say, to St. Lucia for a tournament. I think our bigger concern will be, outside of the sponsorship, is the organizing of the basketballs themselves in all the islands. And once that can happen, a representative team is the easiest thing to have if you have an organized league. You can pick a team based on performances in the league. But the difficulty is to get all the 4 countries to be at that level of having organized basketball. It's just I guess it's just a phase we're going through in the region. But
but you see,
my dream is to bring it back.
Yeah, see, Donnie, I understand.
Which is that noble thing, that noble thing. Go ahead, Lobby.
Yeah, but yes, gentlemen, you see, what the problem in DA, same problem as in all your islands, Donnie. Happy that you are there. Donnie is there. Before Donnie, you had other committed people who have moved away. And that will happen in all the islands. When people who were involved, they are not there in terms of who coming forward. I'm happy Donnie is there coming forward. All right, but he needs help. A lot of help.
That's one of the problems we have globally, is that, there's a gap in the people to teach the sport. It's not just administer the sport.
Right.
If I had a choice today to make a choice between heading DABA and being able to coach a young basketball team and teach basketball,
you would do the coaching.
I would do the coaching every day and twice on Sundays.
But again, if you go that route now, the basketball will suffer the other one, because nobody to organize it.
But what we have tried to do, and persons need to pay attention to this, is that we try to bring the club structure as a pillar in our plans for the past 5 years, our strategic plan, and put the owners back on the clubs to have registered coaches, so we can have a pool of coaches and referees and officials that we can pick from and get trained to take over preparing a national team.
Not easy.
But in the absence of that, if you look at the young team we had, for instance, it's not just the skill level that was the issue, is being able to play organized, structured basketball.
Yep.
And that you cannot teach off the street.
Yep.
Exactly.
So that is where we're struggling the most. I mean, if you look at the African team, yes, those guys are bigger and stronger, but Matlick and Guadeloupe were big and strong, and we were leading at the half. We still, at least we can be on the same court. But when it comes down to crunch time and execution and understanding,
Structure,
basketball is a durable sport as well. You start to think and understand, your opponents. That is where we struggle the most, and that is where we miss the organizational part of the clubs.
You just spoke about the clubs now. You just mentioned that you're going to have the club competition. Like when does it start exactly?
So the club tournament it starts on the 6th, which is next weekend, which is a long weekend.
Right. So the reason why I asked you that, will the team be in Dominica next Thursday?
Yes.
So would we? Well, I'm extending an invitation to you on behalf of all the other guys next week Thursday. If you can come in studio with some of the other people, and we can have a discussion.
We'd love to do that.
Right there for 6:30.
Yeah,
well, the invitation is right there.
Yeah.
So you can bring, I think, Benny will be there.
No, Benny won't be there.
So it will be Guadeloupe,
two teams from Guadeloupe, two teams from Guyana, and 2 teams from Dominica.
Right. So if you can bring a representative of each one of them with you, so we can have a nice discussion about the basketball, and people can know about it. You promote it so people will know that this club thing is going to be taking place next weekend down in Massac. Yes. So everybody, so the invitation is there. You've accepted, so we expect to see you next week, Thursday, early 6:30. Because we don't have much time.
God willing. But Donnie, in closing, take the opportunity to promote the games coming up next weekend.
Yeah, so next weekend we'll have the club, as I said, the Club Creole Festival going on. It will be the first zone, and the first zone is Dominica, Guadeloupe, and Guyana. St. Kitts pulled out last minute. They couldn't make it. And what you're going to have is everybody most likely playing everybody, so it's going to be a lot of basketball.
Wrong, Robin.
It's important that teams people come out. You're going to have the Detroit Blazers, which is the reigning national champions, and the 767 Dominators, which is they won the knockout version of this year's league, which ended 3 weeks ago. So with both teams will be representing Dominica at that competition. And again, it's important to note that these two teams are maybe 2 out of 3 or 4 proper clubs that we have in basketball. And that is, in my opinion, one of the reasons why you will keep hearing, along with Pichelay and Paybush, that dominate basketball in Dominica. So it's important. I want people to come out. We saw a good trend that you came out and support the national team. Most of those young players will be on display because most of those better players play for those clubs. And I think it's important to strike out. Right after that, we have our National League kicking off, our regular season. So it will be a good way to start. And I'm encouraging people to come out and support some good local and regional basketball.
The times and the entry fees.
So the entry fees will be $5 and $10 based on the time of the games. The games that Dominica played, we're going to make it $10. Hopefully we can raise some funds from that. And the earlier games and the non-Dominica games are scheduled to be 5. But for most part of it, the games will be at 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock from Thursday. It's a long weekend next weekend. So the games will go from Sunday to Monday. From Thursday to Monday, tournament ends, I think, Monday night.
Before we let you go, the NBA, we let's go far. We're down to 1, 2. Tonight we'll decide whether you have the other team to join Oklahoma. From your basketball expert, I look at you. This stifling defense I saw last night, you think anybody can beat the Oklahoma City Thunder? Well, that sort of defense you're saying?
I've always said Oklahoma is one of the teams that had the best record in the league. They proved that for 82 games they could have the best, but there was nothing that stood out about them. But in the playoffs, they've proven me wrong. The defense has definitely
stifling by them.
It's almost impossible to see that Joker couldn't do it, Ant-Man couldn't do it, and anybody in the East couldn't do it. So I firmly believe whoever get the honors of playing that team in the finals, they're going to go down. Thunder just too quick, too defensive, too aggressive, and on offense, they have one guy that can't be stopped and 2 or 3 other guys that can give you 20 points every night.
And well, Indiana, well, I don't see New York beating them, particularly if Towns doesn't play tonight. But the Indiana team, they are a team you have to be wary of. I mean, you look at this guy, what's in Halliburton, and then, man, I mean, they look like a tough group of guys.
I think Indiana is better coached. So Indiana play...
And they have a veteran coach as well.
Based on their opponent, they just come out and they end up dominating all the opponents. So you can see they prepare well for the opponent.
But Donnie, one question for you.
Complete team from head down, I would definitely give Thunder.
Yeah, I don't see anybody beating them, honestly.
I don't see it going past 6 games if they meet Indiana, maybe 4-2 in the finals.
I agree.
And I don't think New York stand a chance.
Quickly, Lobby, because we have to move on.
Yes, Donnie. I am looking at the basketball right now, at the NBA, looking at FIBA Olympic Games World Championship. The sort of hand checking you see happening there, you think that will allow at FIFA at the FIBA games? You are to me excessive handling, very excessive.
Yes, yes. I think you have to allow it at some point. If you want to synchronize basketball and standard, at some point they will have to extend it. But
because listen to me, the American USA teams go back. USA teams have suffered at Olympic Games and World Championship.
Yes.
All right, they start complaining about calls, but that's the thing they allow at the NBA. When they get to FIBA rules, it's a different kettle of fish altogether.
So you know what they say. You know the guys who allow them off always win. I think eventually they will get their way. They've been winning anyway, so they will have to synchronize. But whatever it is that's working, it's clear now is team defense is what winning. So
but I mean, what I'm saying there, what was not allowing
team defense team.
Mm-hmm. So, a lot of excessive handling of players. A lot of players.
Yeah. Anyway, Donny, so next week we expect you to have you and the representatives right in studio for 6:30 next week.
Who can make it?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks
a
lot.
Guys,
let's take a very quick break.
Quick break. Yeah, because we don't do that tape today. Yeah. Let's take a quick break. Thanks. All right, guys. Thank you.
Donny.
Or you where in Roseau, Kimatabis, you can just walk in and order all your chicken parts, wholesale, and even enjoy retail. It's at AC Shillingford, all chicken parts available that you can afford. Fresh breast, and you know breast is the best. Shillingford wings have muscle. After you eat it, you can fly. As for Shillingford chicken drumsticks, even swinging stars just order drumsticks from Shillingford. And for those of you who love full AC Shillingford keeps your belly full. Buy your chicken wholesale at AC Shillingford, from wings to thighs to drums to breasts to backs to necks. It's available. It's always available, and it's affordable. Plus, you've got pork feet, ham and turkey, bull foot, chicken nuggets, pepperoni, all those right seasonings to make your kitchen keep on ticking. Buy your wholesale chicken at AC Shillingford. When you think of chicken, think of AC Shillingford. Always ready.
The New India Insurance Company has reopened its doors in Portsmouth, offering the same great services you get in Roseau: motor vehicle insurance, home and business owners, fire and related perils, public liability, and so much more. Come, visit us today for insurance with a personal touch on Bay Street, Portsmouth, or call us at 445-4023. We are ready to serve you.
Yes. Yeah, we are back, and we don't have much time. We're going to be speaking to Mr. Johnson. There was local cricket last weekend. Before we join him, though, the football rally starts at 3 p.m. next week, Wednesday. The match starts at 3 o'clock. So the match next week, Dominica against BVI, 3 p.m. in the Windsor Bar.
That's a sad story, Sebastian.
Well, let me tell you what lobby. Let's not go to any kind of discussion. It's at 3 o'clock. So the match is at 3 o'clock. So we don't want to any kind of controversy.
So what I want to do is encourage people to come out in the numbers
next week,
Wednesday, to support the Dominican match.
3 o'clock next week. That's it. We should be joined by David Johnson. I think he's on the line. David, are you there? Mr. Johnson, are you there? Mr. Johnson, are you hearing us?
Yes, I'm there.
All right, quickly give us you had some local cricket. I think Calvin Hodge was outstanding last weekend. So tell us about what happened last weekend. Quickly, please.
Okay. If I go on to the matches, I would firstly start with the matches that take place at Benjamin's Park. We had the Kalinga Blasters played in Najiko Northern Stars. Kalinga Blasters batted first. They could only score 54 runs. We had GM Benjamin scored 22. Kyron Phillip and Vincent Lewis had 3 wickets each, and Brian Joseph at 245. Into bat, the Northern Stars amassed 323 for 7 declare. We had Lawrence Winchell with 80, Jelani Robinson with 77, Vincent Lewis with 56, and Lovio Charles with 33. And Kester Lettrell at 2 for 33 in that innings. Into bat again, we had the Blasters batting better this time around. They would end up with 233 for 7 when the match declared a team draw, as a team draw. And we had Gian Benjamin had 95, Senior Fontaine 36, Joel Dura 24, and Malinga Bruni 23. We had Gary Daniel had 2 for 41. So that match ended in a draw actually, with Northern Stars getting first innings points. And in at Geneva Plainfield, we had the Covenant plus hitters versus the Tremors. We had the Covenant batting first. They scored 154 all out. We had Michael Joseph with 72, Liam Sebastian with 18, and Jesse Bardwell with 16. And we had Vivian Tis 4 for 6 and Ismail Lendo 2 for 27. Into bat, and Tremors continued their poor form. They had only scored actually 277. Malaka Zavi 46 not out. And we had Cameron Hamilton 4 for 16 and Sherwin Labassiere 3 for 24. Into bat again, the Covenant plus actually declared for 123 for 9. We had Casimir Benjamin 55, Diony rolled 19, and Liam Sebastian 15 not out. And Tyrone Field at 5 for 30, and Ellen Pascal 3 for 18. Tremors in the second innings, they could only score 141. We had Tyrone Field 43, and John Matthew 44, and Cameron Hamilton 6 for 27. Hitters won that match by 59 runs. And as you rightly said, and Calvin Hort had a very good match. We had the Botanical Gardens. We had Granby Colts playing the KFC Summits. Into bat first, the Granby Grenadian Colts, they only could score 109 actually. We had next Magloire 32, Courtney Anslem 19, and Shamoy William 19. Calvin Hort in that innings had 5 for 16, and Justin Bindel 2 for 46. Into bat, the KFC Summits, and only scored 97. We had Neil Davis 18, Stefan Pascal 17. And bowling for Colts, we had Courtney Anslem 5 for 46, and Jeremy Isaac 4 for 25. Into bat again, the Colts was 118. They had Justin Alexander 28, Lex Magler 25, and Alfredson Jolly 23. And again, with the ball, Calvin Hort had 6 for 55. Tyrese Lipdak 3 for 12. In chasing 132-31 for victory, we had Summits making that score, and with 1 wicket down. We had Calvin Hodge scored 83 not out. Stefan Bass scored 32 not out. Summits won that game by 9 wickets. That's the 3 matches.
Any matches this weekend?
Yes, actually, we have 3 matches scheduled for this weekend. Mm-hmm. We have Colonial Blasters versus KFC Summits at Benjamin's Park in Portsmouth. We had Communion plus Heaters versus Granby. Killing Colts at Geneva, and we had the Tremors versus Nagico at the Botanical Gardens.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We'll speak to you again next week. We are with our match. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. Yeah.
Right, guys, we have a few minutes. We must talk about West Indies cricket for a bit. The A team, they looked miserable against South Africa. In fact, South Africa scored 259, the last one to win it in 34 overs. They won the game with 16 overs to go, and the team. Our cricket looks a mess. And you look at it in England today. West Indies batted twice against Ireland. They made over 300 both. They batted first.
Over 350.
350. I couldn't understand today. The match in England started, that was about 1 p.m. England time. So you have good weather. It wasn't like you're playing at 9:30 in the morning and the ball is moving around. You win it and you put the people into bat. They score for. When you're chasing 400 in hour, all it takes is 2 good overs and the run rate can go to 10, 11 and over. And we just really don't look like...
Sibo, you have the connoisseur in cricket. How could Greaves emerge as an opening batsman?
Well, what I would say to you, he made 3 centuries batting open for Lilywood Islands. By the way, in the last 50 over tournament, he made 300s batting open for Lilywood last December in Trinidad.
He didn't look like open batsman.
Well, that's where he batted.
At all today. And one other question, I know time is of essence there. What's the status of Tyson?
Tyson got hit in his head while batting. So that's why he retired. So that's why they use a concussion sub. So somebody... O.J. Shields wasn't on the team and he took a couple wickets. That's why Tyson didn't.
But will it be all right for the next game?
I would think so. They're playing on Sunday. The first 4-day game is on Sunday. Imlak is the captain of that first 4-day game. And yes, on Sunday.
And Warwickon is
for the second one.
Game.
Yeah,
and Tyson is on both.
On both. But like I said, somebody like Ali Kafanaz and Kavem Holt, they need to score runs in the first one. That is what, because you see, what I would suspect, with Carty making runs now, They probably include him in the test match, especially if he makes against England. That's probably what will happen. But you know, but West Indies cricket is a mess. And you know, today, Josh Butler's team is playing tomorrow, the second semi-final in India. Jacob, what's his name? Bethel. His team played today. Kohli's team.
Yes.
He didn't play. But Romare Shepherd is not playing for West Indies. And the other one tomorrow is playing. And I'm trying to understand what sort of administration we have.
Shama.
Yeah.
You know, but West Indies is really a mess. And look at Cathy, you know, and you see, last week we were talking about the West Indies selectors and the way they select the team. You remember Cathy was one of the guys that they dropped very early.
Yes. They dropped him.
He was picked and he was dropped like a hot potato. And now the guy was outstanding batter for the West Indies.
In fact, he averaged almost 50.
Yes.
He made 307 ODIs. But you know, even the composition of the team. You look at Matthew Ford at number 8. Now, when you put somebody at number 8 in a team, the strength has to be bowling, not batting. Because if he gives you runs, cool. But at number 8, you want somebody to bowl for you to get. Matthew Ford doesn't look like he's going to get many people out.
But he opened the bowling.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He went at 11 runs for over today.
He was very weak.
But because he's at 8, okay, he made a quick 50 here. But he's at number 8 in a team. Your strength has to be bowling, not batting.
Well, maybe he can be moved up the order a little bit, you know, because I find he bats very well.
Yeah, but he's opening the bowling and he doesn't look like he's
but coming back to the selection for West Indies to bowl first.
Yes.
Given that their strength is in the batting. That team really, the strength is in the batting.
Yes,
that's what they've shown. And then that was just a mess.
Yeah, because you wonder how did they decide the stuff. You look at, as I say, against Ireland. You made 300 batting first. Why now? Good conditions, good weather. You win the toss, you put the opposition, and 400 you chase it. And that is a daunting task for any
you
team.
notice the first 6 batters for when they all scored 50s. So everybody scored. Everybody scored.
In fact, you know,
never troubled
before they had a local stock. Nana do when you play cricket.
It looked like everybody came to look like they could score 100.
Well, we took some good catches,
That
was
the only thing in
the game today.
And West Indies better be careful. We haven't been qualified for World Cup. If they keep losing like that, they'll struggle to qualify for the 2027 World Cup again. And they're not paying attention.
But you kind of feel that we have a good team, you know. But it's just, I think sometimes the decisions that are made. But I feel, you know, we have a good one-day team.
Yeah, but
and especially when we're up to full strength, when the guys come back.
But you know, I have a problem with that because it cannot be that the West Indies is playing and the board could allow that. And other people, you see the example. Josh Butler went back to England. He's playing for England. You have Jacob Bethel and West Indies allowing their men to play. What sort of organization is that? My goodness me. I mean, I don't understand, man. I mean, we're really in bad shape in the West Indies. Very, very bad shape. And I don't know how we're going to get around that, but the administration, I don't know. And people talk about you have a bowling coach, Rampal. He's never coached anywhere before, and he's the bowling coach now. Ravi Rampal. Ravi Rampal. He's the bowling coach in England. And you know, already that we have a caller. Darren Sammy is still not an experienced coach. So you don't know. Caller, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. Short today on the very question.
You're breaking up. We're not hearing you clearly. Go in the better spot.
Yes, I was asking you if you heard Bishop today on the very question you're asking on Shepherd and the other guy.
And Jacob Bethel. I didn't hear what he said, but tell us.
I can remember one of the commentators was asking Bishop, why is it that Shepherd and the other guy is still in England,
right?
And in India, and Bishop is at the West Indies cannot afford to pay the guys this kind of money. Australia, India, and England, and some are paying their cricketers, so that is why they are allowing them to play in the.
But you know that is a foolish answer, because I'll tell you why. They have fulfilled their contract. The contract was supposed to expire on the 25th. The reason why they have extended because they had the Pakistan, their war, small war with Pakistan. So the contract at school, they were supposed to be there until the 25th. So to say now about money, but let's be real, how much more money you'll get if you go to play for your country? I mean, that is just a nonsense, honestly.
And then Bishop went on to give the figures that Australian cricketers and cricketers and Indian cricketers getting in compared to the West Indies.
Caller,
that is why they actually came back to let them.
Caller, the IPL was supposed to have finished last week Sunday, so they fulfilled their contract. Anything else, the BCCI couldn't stop them. That is why Butler went to play for England and Jacob Bethel. So West Indies Cricket Board, to allow that, it was a nonsense, honestly. Rubbish. Okay. We have another caller. We have to close up now, guys. Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Oh, yeah, good evening.
Yes.
I was trying to make the same point that Senval just made there. In fact, when the commentator from England said, look, Butler and all his fellows came back, and the new fellow from Barbados, was born in Barbados.
Jacob Bethel.
Yes, right, Jake, right. Then Bishop saying, well, all the other islands can pay them, the countries, but West Indies cannot pay them, so they have to allow them to stay.
But caller, I know.
And that sounds so silly.
Of course it is silly. It is silly because they would have gotten paid already. They fulfilled their contract. The IPL was supposed to have ended on Sunday last. Right? Yes. They had this war, and that's why the BCCI extended it. So they fulfilled their contract, they would have gotten their money. So that is just a nonsense. The guy are choosing franchise cricket over the West Indies, and the West Indies board is allowed. Nonsense. Honestly.
Yeah. Notwithstanding, if money becomes a major consideration.
Why did not match? They won the toss.
Yeah.
As you quite rightly said, they just spent 300 in 2 games there, and you win in the toss. Right where, and you're going to send your opposition in?
Yeah. It's stupid.
I don't want to comment about the 18, the South Africa team.
Well, the 18 look very bad. They look poor. I'll tell you that. I saw all the games, and the 18 they look very bad. I'll tell you honestly. They're poor. Very poor. So, and these are supposed to be guys. Okay, cool. Guys, we have to close up now. The ERC has this thing going on now. They've asked for an hour. The workers program will be on from 9 o'clock tonight. We'll be back next week. So on behalf of Dr. Fountain, Ronald Lander, Emmanuel O'Black, we just want to say good night. It's nonsense to say about money and Bishop and them. And why he in there, why he left. Yeah.